Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 190 and we have a good one for you today. This might be one of the shortest Fish Fridays we've ever done, but I thought it was really neat and I wanted to share it with you all. Today's fish that we're going to be talking about is Danionella cerebrum. Again, that's Danionella cerebrum. And I say the scientific name and the fish because it has no common name. And we'll get into why in a little bit. So Danionella cerebrum, it is part of the family Cyprinidae, which is the minnow family. We've talked about minnows multiple times before. And the Danionella genus is native to the freshwaters of Myanmar and Bengal, India. So not a very large region just for the entire genus. And Danionella cerebrum is actually just from the lower streams on the southern and eastern slopes of the Bago-Yoma mountain range in Myanmar. So not only is it only found on these, like the south and eastern slopes of this mountain range, it's only found on the lower streams. So extremely small range. And even then, it's only found in the very turbid waters of those streams. And the reason why it doesn't really have a common name is this was a very new species. It was just described in 2021, meaning this species is 3 years old, which is cool in and of its own right. It's still impressive to me that how quickly new species are being discovered. This was often classified with a different Danionella because they live side by side and they have similar ranges, which means side by side, sorry. But it was determined that they are a different species through morphological characteristics, I believe internal morphological characteristics. So it's still pretty unique. And it is one of the smallest fish in the world. The adults actually only measure up to 10 to 13.5 millimeters in length, which is about half an inch at the upper end. So very, very, very small fish. And that's a fully formed adult, by the way. That is a full adult, not a juvenile. I couldn't imagine how their juveniles are. They have these very translucent bodies, as you can see here. I mean, this fish is see-through. You can see all of the organs, the swim bladder, and all this. And something interesting is that, if in terms of farther morphological characteristics, it is scaleless. It does have a lateral line, dorsal fin set extremely far back on the body, forked caudal fin, kind of a large anal fin, yada yada. It's kind of your more generic minnow shape, like for those of you who know, like Natropis, or not really Dionda shape, but Natropis. But one interesting fact about this fish, among many interesting facts, is even though this fish species is only 3 years old, it is already being used for neuroscience research. And that's interesting for a couple of different ways. These fish only have a brain volume of just 0.6 millimeters cubed. And to put that into perspective, a 1 millimeter cubed brain would be 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter long, 1 millimeter tall, 1 millimeter wide. That would be 1 millimeter cubed. That means that the fish's brain capacity is actually less than 1 millimeter going every direction. That is staggeringly small. In fact, it is the smallest known adult vertebrate brain in existence right now. And that is really crazy, especially when you consider that even though it has a small brain, it actually has very rich behavioral tendencies, which allow the scientists to not only study behavior, it allows the scientists to actually do it in a non-invasive way to view the whole brain. They're studying this fish, looking at the brain and seeing, you know, how the brain is operating, because the fish is so translucent. It allows for internal organ monitoring that just doesn't happen throughout a lot of fish studies. It's truly bizarre, especially when you consider that this fish species is only 3 years old. Now, again, it used to be considered part of a different species, but I digress. But now for the actual interesting fact that we're going to end the video on. As you might have guessed, I am a bit of a fish nerd. There are other fish nerds out there, bigger fish YouTubers than me. There's no denying it. But chances are they get very similar news that I do. So if you know, on MSN, you get your news feed. If you go to msn.com in the news, you get all these MSN news articles that you can tailor to your interests. And obviously the internet knows I love fish, because this fish just made the news last month. And the reason why it made the news is the neuroscientists discovered that this fish has an unusual characteristic. So these fish have been in the lab settings for probably many years, and they have been taking care of them and all this. Well, apparently throughout a night, during the nighttime, some of the scientists, the neuroscientists, were hearing very odd sounds, and they couldn't figure it out. And then they determined that it was actually this fish. Apparently this fish has a piece of cartilage that it draws tight with its muscle and then drums it against its swim bladder. And we've talked about how fish can make different sounds. One of the ways is they can tighten this like circular muscle around the swim bladder and kind of like pull it and squeeze it. Kind of think how you would a balloon. You know, when you have a blown up balloon and you pull against it, it makes that awful screeching sound. Well, this fish is actually doing it with like almost a drumming deal. And that's, you know, the fish makes sounds. It lives in turbid waters. It's trying to find things. That's not necessarily that unheard of. It's the level of sound. So this fish can produce sounds of over 140 decibels at a distance of 10 to 12 millimeters. And this is a comparison that I love. This is comparable to the noise a human perceives of an airplane during takeoff at a distance of 100 meters. That means, in terms of comparison to its size, this is actually the loudest, if one of the loudest animals in existence, especially when compared to its size. And I'm actually going to take you to the article, which is why I threw my headphones on, so that you can hear this. And we'll turn it down a little bit, but listen to this. All those clicks, those drums.
The fish are native to Myanmar. They live in these.
And the simple fact that this was found because they were trying to study its brain is just crazy to me. Crazy to me. But like I said, this is a short video because this is such a new fish. There's not a whole lot known about it that's just really out there available. So sorry that this is short, but thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you do. I'd really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If you'd like to support the channel, please click the link down below. It is by no means expected, but very much appreciated regardless. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. And peace.